now I can
First of
say
all,
the AH. Give me the other letter. Give me the 3 letters.
So
the
it's Flux
AHF.
AHF.
AHF, and bring me
Yeah,
to what the AHF is and what you do.
yeah. So AHF is AIDS Healthcare Foundation. I work with an organization called Flux, which is an affinity group of AHF. And our mission is to raise the profile of the trans and non-binary community by leveraging social events, creating safe spaces, and innovative advocacy. So we go into spaces that typically trans folks don't have like the luxury of going into, right? Like high end
Mm-hmm.
parties, stuff like that. And we invite community there to take up space and to feel seen, to feel loved. And we also provide workshops. We help provide workshops like financial literacy, wealth management, um, you know, how to create your own business, all that stuff, workout classes, whatever it is people in the community want to
Yeah,
see. Yeah. So
wonderful.
do a
That's
lot of that stuff.
awesome. So I love that you're literally taking it by the horns and saying these are places that trans people typically aren't at or we don't feel comfortable at, and we're putting you right in it, and everybody can just fucking deal with it. Like
Yeah.
I genuinely love that, because that's literally what we need is the let's get in there, let's fucking do it. You're welcome here just as much as any other person that's in this space right now, and we want you here. And my wife had told me when I first started transitioning, she said, your world as a trans man is so small because of where we feel safe and where we're okay to go and what we're okay to do. So I love that you're saying, no, we literally belong everywhere. We're not X-rated. We're people. And if we want to be in these places, we're more than welcome to be in these places. And I'm still getting used to, Scott, I don't know if you are, and Luke, I don't know if you are too, where I'm saying it is okay for me to be here. It is okay for me to engage with these people and whatever else, even if I'm a trans man, because it doesn't fucking matter. And I'm not a shitty person, and I don't have shitty intentions, and
Right.
I just want to be a part of what's going on.
So
Yeah.
honestly, for me, I kind of just like walk into a space and I'm just like, I'm here. You can get used to it. I don't give a fuck.
I'm here. I'm queer. My joint pain is moderate to severe. So like it is what it is, dude.
Yeah.
It is what it fucking is. Yes.
Especially
Yeah.
being over 30, it's just like, what hurts today?
Exactly.
Exactly. I love that. I love that you're doing that. That's fucking incredible.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's something
That's
that we
bold
definitely
too,
need,
man.
especially in our community. Yeah, it
Yeah.
really is. And I'm
Yeah. And
very
I think a
proud to
lot.
be.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the time that's one of the things we often forget, right? Because I think for myself, when I first started working in community, it was like, you know, we have all these powerful trans women, trans femmes that are leading and paving the way, which is awesome. And sometimes I felt so intimidated that I didn't want to take up space, and
Yeah.
that I felt I wasn't deserving that space. So it's like I'm still trying to learn how to do that, and trying to voice what I need and voice what community needs and be intentional about the work I do. Right, and
Love it.
that's a lot of times I think that's we often get lost, especially as a trans masculine person. It's like we transition, we kind of like start passing, and people stop forgetting the trans man exists. Right,
Yeah.
where in fact
Yeah.
it's like we have our own issues going on. We have so much going on, and that's how we get left out of things like such as prep and stuff like that, where community needs.
Yes. That's awesome. I mean, it's seriously, and I'm not even trying to sound like corny. It is incredible that you took the initiative to do that. Like that's absolutely, because it's literally trailblazers like you. I mean, I'm doing this podcast with Scott, but Scott started this. This was his idea and he brought me along, which I appreciate. And in the back of my mind, I'm constantly thinking, what more can I do as a trans man to support my community, to bolster my community?
All right.
Do you personally, either one of you, have any where you would say, hey, this is something you should be doing. This is something you need to do. Share this on your story. How do I help our community?
Well, for
For
my,
me, it's kind of just like
oh, I'll let
doing what I'm
Scott go
doing
first.
now, lifting weights, and our internet connections are not liking each
Providing
other. So,
coaching.
um,
It's all right as long
yeah,
as the
providing
audio goes.
coaching.
We're good to
Just
go. So it just
you're not wrong. You're absolutely not wrong. I don't
had
give a shit
a
about the video. Um, but yeah, it's like providing coaching and then like starting this pod. I've had this podcast as my idea for the last year. So it's just kind of like I guess finding the right timing or finding the right person to come do this with, and then like after I found that, it was just like, okay, now who do I talk to? And then it was just like an instant list. Like my brain was like, we could
yeah,
talk this, and this person. Like I've already got 4 people uh scheduled for a podcast. So
yeah,
it's I feel like it's just
yeah.
this is a continuous natural like this is where I'm supposed to be. This is what I'm supposed to be doing, you know?
I love it. I love that.
Yeah, yeah. I appreciate like even seeing Scott. Like I think Scott was the first uh at my first powerlifting meet, which was the first at least for me, it was like 2 years ago, or I think it was about a year ago, wasn't it, Scott?
2013 2023.
Yeah. So we're
Wow.
almost at 2 years in November, but that's a year and a half, let's say.
Yeah.
I met him, and he was the first trans man powerlifter I've ever met. You
Yeah.
know, I had just gotten into powerlifting. I did CrossFit for a few years, and then I was like, I like lifting heavy weights, right? So
Yeah.
I decided to go try powerlifting, and it was like his visibility is so important, and that's one of the things that's if people feel comfortable being visible, that's one major step that is essential, right? But if people aren't comfortable being visible, just having that space and creating that space for other folks to feel supported. Um,
Yes.
'Cause not everybody still want to be visible, and especially in this time, right? At this time and age during this administration, people are gonna want to lay low, and that's perfectly fine, right?
Hmm.
Um, I think for myself, I'm more of like I gotta be visible for others that can't be visible, but I also come in of a level of like privilege, right? Where it's like I have my family who supports me, my chosen family, not my affirmed family,
Mm.
who are great advocates in community. So I come from a chosen family of like trailblazers that are like advocates for community and have always been fighting along the sides for community. You know,
Yeah.
my aunts Bambi Salcedo, Christina Herrera, they're all great communities. They're all great leaders in the community all over the U.S. So for me, it's more of like, how can I push the boundaries in a way that cis people can understand how important it is
Yes.
for us to be visible and for us to
Yeah.
have the rights that we need.
I saw Scott on Instagram and I didn't even realize that he was trans. I was like looking at his page and I was like, I genuinely can't fucking tell what I'm following right now. Like I can't. And then I was like, oh my God, he is trans. I was like, this is, and I started following him as like a baby trans dude because I've been in transition for 3 years. And I think I started following him like year 1 or 2. And I was like, holy shit, like I hadn't seen guys that look like you or look like Scott or lift like them. And I was like, holy shit, this is like, this could be me. This is what I could look like. This is what I could do. And it's like that whole other side as you're transitioning where it's like, you can't even imagine the shit that you guys are doing. It's fucking incredible. And I love that you guys are so visible because that takes a lot of fucking balls, dude. Especially, I mean, trans people are the most resilient, which I never want to use resilient as a compliment because it's something that we
Yeah,
just have to be.
yeah,
It has to come standard with being trans. But you guys are we're so brave, we're so resilient, we're so many things. And you guys, I'm like crouching behind you trying to get out and stand next to you. And I can
yeah,
admit that and I appreciate you both for that.
yeah. And it's something to like also think about, like, right? It's like you don't have to be crouching right next to us, right? You could
Yeah.
be like on our side, right? It doesn't matter how how much into your transition you are, how much, right? It's more about like taking up space and being comfortable taking up space because your voice matters.
Yes.
Um, and I think that's very important, and that's what I tell my youth, because I do deal with a lot of youth from 16 and 25. So
Mm.
it's like teaching them, like, as their medical journey go, like voice, if they, because that's a lot of issues I had as I progressed in my transition, was like dealing with doctors that I didn't know what they were talking about. So
Mm.
it's voicing like, hey, this is what I need from you,
Yeah.
right? So it just kind of, I think with time it comes as a learning experience, and that's things I'm still working on, like voicing my voice when it comes in front of community, because I don't think, for me it's like, oh, trans, I love my trans femme siblings, trans women siblings, um, but sometimes I don't think I'm worthy of being in those spaces, and I gotta
Mm.
remind myself often, like I am, as a
Yeah.
trans person, as a trans person of color. I am deserving of these spaces, and I'm deserving to people to pay attention to me, and I'm deserving of voicing my story and letting people know, letting my voice be heard.
Yes. And the thing is you wouldn't even be able to tell that by, because I started following you a couple weeks ago and going through your Instagram, so I knew who you were before we got on this call. And it, from your Instagram, you would never be able to tell that you didn't feel like you were, maybe that you belonged in these spaces. You don't carry it on the outside. Your face
Yeah,
doesn't show it, your body language doesn't show it, which is something that I hope that I can also do. But I also, you telling me this now and then looking at what you present is incredible. You don't walk into the lion's den kind of like timid and whatever. You bring all the heat with you when you come in. And I
yeah,
I absolutely love that, because that's what we need, because I and a lot of other guys see that shit and we're like, we do belong in powerlifting meets. We do belong. Like, I know Scott's competed in the gay games, or what it was, and being in those spaces, and people could never understand. That takes a lot of fucking courage to
yeah,
say, fuck it. This is who I am, and I'm coming into this space, and you can love it or you can get the fuck out. And
yeah,
that's, I love that.
yeah. And it's interesting because Powerlifting United just came out with this. They're not they're the first. I think they're the first powerlifting association that came out with their non-binary standards, and I identify as transmasculine, so I identify in that non-binary spectrum.
Okay.
So it's great for me to compete, to be able to be seen as a non-binary person and be seen as, hey, there's a space for me to compete,
Yes.
right? Yeah. So
That's
it's very
awesome.
interesting creating these spaces, because last year when I competed, it was only male, female, and I think that was with WRPF, and it was great, right? But part of me was like, oh, do I really belong here?
Yeah.
Um, so I just kind of like assimilated with everybody else. Like, I guess this is the only space where I fit.
Yeah.
But having that space for Powerlifting United has been really great to be able to be like, hey, I'm a non-binary person. I want to compete in the non-binary division, and it's great to have that structure there for that. Um, and then I'll also be competing. Scott wrote me into competing at the gay games.
Yeah. You're like, so this is what I'm doing now.
So, which is great because I
Hey,
needed a
I
visit
only
Spain anyway.
asked. You said yes. All right. Let's
Yeah.
let's go with
Yes.
this, okay?
I love it. When
you know,
uh when was your
yeah.
first meet? Your first
My first,
powerlifting meet?
so my first powerlifting meet was November 2023.
Wow. Okay. And
Yeah, the
how did you
IATB meet.
feel? What did you say, Scott?
The IATB meet.
Yeah, the
Oh yeah,
ITV.
yeah. The International Trans. Help me out here.
International Association of Trans Bodybuilders
I
and
should know that.
Powerlifters.
Yes. And how did you feel going into that meet? Mentally, physically, emotionally, what were your thoughts?
I just went because I wanted to try it out. I had
Yeah.
never done powerlifting. What I knew from what I knew about from squatting, bench, and deadlifting was from CrossFit.
Hmm.
So I had to learn at the meet.
Yes.
I
You
had
had
to
to learn
learn.
how to properly squat, bench, and deadlift. No, edit that out. Don't put that in.
Yeah. Well, not properly, but I had to learn the commands. That was the
Yes.
biggest thing, the commands. I didn't know the commands, so I had watched people do it, and then I was like, oh shit, okay, you got to do it here, you got to do it here, you got to do it here.
Yeah.
Like with bench, I didn't think I had to pause, and then I was like, okay, I got to pause, then push up, and then I was like,
Yeah.
um, so I was very like, mentally, I was like, okay, I gotta get all these things, soak all this in, um, and just go up there and do it. But I think the crowd is very supportive.
Mm.
I think I won that meet too. Was that right, Scott?
Wow.
I think I played. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
you took best lifter, and then last year I took best lifter because
yeah.
sorry.
Nice.
And Scott had to come back and be like, you know what? I'm gonna show you up. But
No, seriously, that's pretty much what happened, and not
Yeah.
to discredit anybody, but like that's
Scott's
pretty
like, I
much what
gotta let
happened.
him know just real quick. Just slide in here and let him know real quick.
but I think it was also a proud moment for Scott because my squat went up 100 pounds from the
Yeah,
last meet.
Yeah.
yeah.
And Scott, I want to say, because I had always had this mentality as a coach, and I'll put myself on blast right now, where like if one of my lifters is lifting better than me or more than me, that's like an insult. Like I should be better because I'm the coach, but it's
Oh
not.
no,
That's a completely bullshit mindset to have. And I thought the same thing about coaches that have two competitors competing in the same meet is like, oh, what do you do if one wins? Not shit, because you coach them to a win. That's
right? You
exactly
celebrate
what
both.
you were supposed to do. Like
Yep,
you
you
got
celebrate
first and
both of them.
second place, and you as the
Yep.
coach took third. This is good. Your whole team
Yes,
wiped the fucking floor. Like, and
literally.
that was
That's
that. Yeah.
that's exactly right. Like I get jealous that Luke is chipping at my heels? Absolutely. Does that light a fire under my ass? Absolutely.
But
But
there's a sense of pride.
right, there really is, because it just shows that what I have learned over my last almost decade of lifting is
Yeah,
coming to fruition with somebody that, only has a CrossFit background. That
that's
I've put,
incredible.
over 100 pounds on his squat
Fuck
in
yeah,
2 years time, in less than 2 years. Like that's huge.
that
And
is.
then we've also fixed his depth. We've also fixed his bench and like how shitty it looks, and like his deadlift. It's still a struggle, but it's coming.
What was your deadlift at the meet, Luke?
The last meet I think it was 501,
Wow,
and then I think the year before when I first did with IATVP was 495. I think so. It went up by like 5 6 pounds. It wasn't too bad. Uh,
it was shitsing. See, I want to say I'm kind of jaded because I follow a lot of powerlifters, male, female, trans, whatever, and so I see 500, 400 pound deadlifts all day like it's nothing. That is substantial. Like as trans men, the weight that all three of us combined have like a 2,000 pound deadlift. Like, and that is substantial. That's incredible that we can do that. And I always have to like take a step back and say, no, a 315, a 425, a 495, a 500 is fucking incredible. That's insane. Do you yourself, Luke and Scott, have to take a step back and say, I've been seeing, like, I follow Jamal Brower, and he does like a 1,200 pound deadlift and shit like that. Do you have to take a step back and say, no, what I'm doing is fucking incredible, and this is insanity that I can lift this weight?
oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
I also have to remind myself that most of the professional powerlifters, if not, majority of them, right, that are not untested, are also on gear,
A shit ton of
Yes.
gear.
shit ton of
So much
gear.
gear.
I'm like, I'm only on testosterone, and that's because it's my testosterone
And it's
Yes.
medically
Yeah. Yeah.
required.
Yeah.
medically required, and that's a lot of the things. Like I get a lot of comments from a lot of trans masculine folks in the community that ask me if I'm using gear. I'm like, I'm not. Unfortunately, I'm not.
Dude, the obsession with gear in our community, and Scott and I are going to do an episode on gear
Yeah.
because we both, I mean, dabbled in it. It is what it is. But that
Mhm.
the obsession with like gear and yeah, it's scary. It's scary. But the effects, and for me personally, I've gotten stronger on just testosterone than
Yeah.
I have on other shit that I've taken. And so I've dialed back to just testosterone until I'm ready to compete again. So
Well,
that's
you also got
incredible
to
that
look
you're
at it.
hitting
Test is the muscle builder, and it's the base compound of any gear. So you
exactly.
have to have a test base in order to move forward. So like
That's the first
you could
thing
be
all of
running.
these guys take is test,
Yeah.
and then
Yep.
they jump onto other shit. And you hitting
Uh.
a 500-pound deadlift on test, I mean, I think a 475 on test, and these guys are hitting like a 135, and they say, I think I'm ready to get on gear. And I say, no, you're
No,
fucking
you're
not.
not.
Like, I've been training for 2 years. Am I ready to take gear now? Like it, no.
Yeah.
And so I love that you're able to come here and say, I mean, look, I fucking swept everybody on just my prescribed testosterone.
That's awesome.
Yep.
And yeah, and I've had conversations with Scott. Sometimes when I feel frustrated, I'm like, maybe I should jump on gear. And then Scott's like, no, you know, he's like,
Respect, hey,
I'm gonna,
respect to Scott for that.
yeah, yeah. He's
Well,
like, I'm gonna push your limits, and then we'll talk.
Yes.
cause like
Yeah.
I'm always like, what are you missing? Are you eating enough? Are you drinking enough water? Are you sleeping enough? How's your recovery? Like
Yeah.
all of these questions you have to ask not just yourself and also people that come to you asking about gear
Hmm.
prior to you prescribing a protocol. Because if everything's not 100%, like nothing's going to move. You
Exactly.
know, like you have to have everything else dialed in, and then once you hit your basically your genetic cap, then you can start looking at, okay, maybe I'll up the test, or I'll add this compound, or I'll add
Hmm.
this or add that.
Exactly.
And that's
Yeah.
why I tell everybody, like, it doesn't matter who you are. Like if you come to me and you're like, hey, I got some questions about gear, and I'm just like, okay, how's this, and they're just like, oh, this is shitty, this is okay, this is great, and I'm just like, get these other two things dialed in and then come talk to me.
That's
Do
the
that
same
for
thing I
six
say.
do that for 6 months and see where you're at.
Exactly. Yeah. You're missing 6 meals a day. And Luke, I know that you're a busy guy, and Scott and I had mentioned you on the podcast last night because I am the worst about, well, my workday ends when I'm done. So fuck breakfast, fuck lunch, fuck a snack, fuck a protein shake. I'm going to blast through and I'm going to do physical labor for 8 hours, and then I'm going to go home and crash and wonder why I feel like shit. And so you're kind we're kind of in the same boat of like I miss meals like it's like unfortunately like it's my fucking job. And it
Yeah,
if I pretend like that's not the reason why I'm missing lifts and plateauing and shit, gear bringing in gear is not going to be the move I need to make to get what I want. I'm just abusing my kidneys for no fucking reason, and I
yeah,
mean it's insanity.
Right.
yeah, yeah. That's one thing that Scott always gets on my ass about is like, eat, eat, eat. Are you eating? And
Yes.
I'm so busy with everything. Like right now, I'm traveling. I'm in Mexico right now because I'm traveling for an event here in Mexico because
Wow.
our Flux chapters are all over the world. Um, and I forget to eat. Like I just ate, and I got to remind myself to eat, eat, eat.
Yes.
Uh, and for me, unfortunately, it's more of like shit. Like I'll forget to eat, and
Mm-hmm.
then I'll drink water, but then I'll forget to drink water more often. So then it's
Yes.
more like, why am I feeling like shit? It's like, oh, well, obviously,
I'm
yeah,
dehydrated and I haven't eaten in 8 hours, and like now I'm about to go deadlift for an hour and a half.
yeah. And
Yeah.
then
Honestly,
yeah, Scott will tell you I get like lately I've been getting sick a lot. So if it's not one thing, it's another thing that I'm getting sick. I'm just recovering from bronchitis. I went to Coachella,
Oh,
got
geez.
bronchitis.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
And
this man is in a new country every month, and I'm just like, Jesus
Dude, what?
fuck.
Dude. Nah,
My
I was in
ultimate
Coachella
goal,
and got bronchitis. Like, what the fuck?
my
I got
ultimate
bronchitis
goal,
from my 10-year-old. Like, what the fuck? Shit.
my
That's
ultimate
hilarious.
goal is whenever you see my name, is you're like, fuck, I gotta eat, or fuck, I
It,
gotta drink.
there you go.
yeah,
Exactly.
I just gotta find a way to remind myself to eat. But what I found for me, it's better. It's like I'll drink shakes like no one's business. Like if I
Hmm.
could find a place that does protein shakes, or if I'm traveling, if I could find a place that does protein shakes, I'm golden because I'm like
Exactly.
I'll drink protein shakes between stuff. Um, but that's harder around this area.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I bet. Yeah, yeah. That's how I am too. At the gas station, I hit, like a Fairlife shake or something like that. And then there's always somebody in your ear that's saying, "Well, you should be eating whole food." Like, yeah, I absolutely should be eating whole food. But right
yeah, but
now, this is what
the
I'm gonna
amount
fucking
of
drink.
right, but the amount of calories, protein, and carbs that I need to get in, like, I don't want to keep chewing.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly. If I
I
can
can make
slam
a
this in 2 minutes and be done for two
right.
hours,
Yeah.
let's fucking
Like
do it.
the protein shakes that I make, they're like 80 grams of protein and like 90 grams of carbs.
There you
I don't
go.
know how many calories because I don't give a shit.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. I got what I need. I don't need any fucking more, dude. That's
No,
how I am
seriously.
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But Scott will tell you whenever we go to meet, whenever it's with other people or whatever it is, I end up eating the less than everybody else for whatever reason. I can't eat as much as, I get full fast,
Yeah.
and that's just a reality. Um, and, Scott eats a lot more than I do.
If I
Scott
could
eats more than
force
I do too.
if I could force this man to eat, I would. Be like,
Dude,
open your
yeah.
hole and just throw food down his throat.
Just
Mama bird.
blend salmon and steak and rice and then just
Yes.
chug it.
Yeah.
Dude,
Yes.
that's insanity. Um, Luke, I gotta know because I know a lot of people that are gonna be listening to this. One of the things that they struggle with is like, I want to go to the gym. I'm ready to go to the gym, but when I go in there, I feel like everybody stops what they're doing and looks at me, and they're watching me the whole time I'm in there. And so, kind of, if you could take me back to the first time you walked into a gym, and because where you're at now versus where you at when you first came in and said, "What's a fucking bicep curl?" What, you know what I mean? What happened between that time and what was going through your head when you said, "Okay, I'm ready to go to the gym"?
So my first time at the gym, gosh, is when I was a kid, but I was with my dad, so it wasn't.
Same,
I'm not gonna
same.
count that because that was like years ago.
Yeah.
But the first time I was actually very conscious about what I was doing at the gym was the first time I went to a CrossFit box and I took my first CrossFit class. I
Okay.
took their basic training class. I had to start off, you know, my deadlift, my squat, everything started off with the 35-pound barbell, right? So everybody starts somewhere. It's about getting the technique right before, everybody. Let me rephrase this. Everybody starts somewhere, and even though you think people are looking at you, everybody's there to be at the gym. Let's be
Exactly.
honest.
Yeah.
When I go to the gym, I'm not here to stare at other people. I'm here to focus on my things and go on with business.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, sometimes I'll go up to people that are like doing it wrong, and I'll be like, "Hey, can I help you with this? Can I help you with this?" But it comes from a place of like caring. Like I want people that go to the gym to do well, right? I don't want
Yeah.
people to hurt themselves. So if people are looking for you because you're new or because they can tell you're trans, they don't give a fuck. Let's be
Exactly.
honest.
Yeah. Yeah.
They don't give a fuck. Uh, you know, they just want to do their thing. They're just there to work out. Um, and if people come up to you, they'll probably ask you like, "Hey, can I help you with your form?" Or that's the only reason I've seen other people approach other people has been to like help with form, kind of things. So it's
Yeah.
not like um, I feel like that's more on our head in our head where it's like we think. and I do this all the time when I go to a new space. It's like I think people are watching me.
Mm-hmm.
When I go to a room,
Yes.
I'm like, how many people are turning their heads and seeing me, right? Um,
Yeah.
and I've had to unlearn to like really care about that. That people are there to do their own thing. The same way when I go to the restrooms, like people are there to just do what they got to do.
Yeah,
Yep.
they ain't listening to you pee. They're not
Yep.
watching you do
Yeah,
whatever. Like especially in a dude's bathroom. Yeah,
Yep.
we as trans dudes, and I don't want to speak for all of us, but for me myself, like you go in the gym and you're pre-top surgery and you're doing like flies, like chest flies, and you're like everybody's looking at my fucking chest right now. When in reality, everybody's like, oh, this guy's looking at my legs, or this guy's looking at my arms, or everybody's thinking the exact same thing, and it's only
Yep.
about themselves.
Yep.
Like it ain't exactly.
Everybody's got some form of body dysmorphia when you go
yeah,
to the gym.
Yes,
It's just like
yeah,
the moment you become big, you are forever small.
exactly. That yes, yes,
yeah,
exactly,
yeah. Because at the end of the day, we're
exactly.
all going to the gym to better ourselves in one
Yep.
aspect or another.
Yep.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So then, what is it? Your dad then that got you into weightlifting, or was it something else?
No, my dad was just more of like a cardio person.
Oof, oof.
So he did do some bench press and stuff like that, but he didn't really teach me any because he didn't think I needed to because I was a girl back.
Oh yes, yeah.
Yeah,
Ladies don't need to work out.
yeah,
That's what I've
yeah,
heard.
Yeah.
yeah. So
Just be a cardio bunny. It'll be okay.
yeah,
There you
yeah.
go.
So it was more of he taught my brothers how to do that, and my brothers don't lift that all now, so I guess it worked out.
There you go. There you
um,
go.
Positives, yeah.
yeah. So I had to learn on my own, and it was also like a struggle when I first learned. It's like don't look at other people's weight, focus on technique,
Yep.
and this
Mhm.
is something what I learned from my first coach was like focus on technique, and then you could add weight.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
basically me too. So.
yeah.
Same. Yeah. You want to lift
So
the
it's like
heavy weight. You want to touch the hundreds, but like, let's work there and get there when we
Yep.
deserve it. Then just jump to it, man.
Yep.
These young kids,
yeah,
dude. That's
yeah,
awesome. So,
and that's what I tell people when they first start, and they're like, "I want to be strong, right? I want to be strong like you." It's like, cool. Focus on your technique. You'll
yes,
get there. You'll get there.
exactly.
Just focus
Mhm.
on
Yes.
your yeah,
Because who gives a shit? Scott and I were just talking yesterday. He's like, I'd rather see a 135 for 100 reps with perfect form than a 500-pound deadlift with a rounded back, shaky
Correct.
lockout, like soft knees. And that's what I think where a lot of people, because I did it, Scott, I'm sure you did it, like in our early 20s, where we're like, look how much weight I can fucking lift. And now we're like,
Nope.
we need to foam roll for like 30 minutes minimum before we start touching some fucking weight here. I'm gonna
yeah,
blow my back out.
So it's
Yes.
actually ironic. I have always been form over weight. I've
Yes.
never been weight over form. Like
See, that's
even in
just
my
changed for
formative,
me recently.
even in my early years, I was just like, it's always form over weight. It's like I don't give a shit how much is on the bar or whatever. I'm going to push my form,
yeah,
and then the weight just came.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. For me, it was more of like I was too scared. I was cutting myself short. I was too scared, even though I
You
had my
still do.
form. Yeah,
Yeah. Coach is in the back.
that was
Coach
how
is
it
in your
is.
ear, like.
Let's be real. You still do.
Where I cut myself short, and I think I can't do this way, right? It's like, okay, I'll try this weight instead because I feel off today, right, or something like that. Um, but then I'll come comp day, and then I'll be like, oh, I could actually do this weight.
Yeah. It is there, isn't it?
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
so I think when I first started touching 400s, that was the biggest thing was like, oh, I was too scared to touch 400s. Back in 2023, I was scared to touch 400s. Um, and then it just happened. And then, Scott was like, let's do it for reps now.
Yeah. And you were like,
Yeah.
what? You're like, say what? that's
Yeah,
um
this
that's
man
incredible,
squats
man.
455 like air.
Shit.
So
What body weight are you at right now, if you don't mind me asking?
So last time I weighed myself, I was sick, so I was at 222.
That's insane, man. That's shit. Wow.
Yeah,
Double body
yeah,
weight
yeah,
essentially for reps. That's incredible.
Yeah.
yeah,
That's absolute insanity, man. That's awesome.
yeah.
This is incredible because if I had started transitioning at like 19, 20, 21 years old and I was watching this podcast, I would be so I mean I am high, like I'm getting like Scott knows, like I'm like radiating right now. This is incredible. And it's seeing what we can do as trans men is absolutely fucking incredible to me. I love this. I love this
Yeah,
so
with
much.
actual information and not shit knowledge.
But
Yeah.
literally. That's awesome, man. So has anything so you got into weightlifting pre or post kind of transition?
So I started um, lifting after I started testosterone, but before
Mm-hmm.
I had top surgery. Uh, so it was a lot of like working out with binders.
Gotcha. And I bet that was horrible.
That was horrible, but I was at a level of dysphoria where I would use my binder all the time. So it was like
Mm.
my trick was like, how do I take off my binder after a day of sweating?
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah. And
because it's like,
you're only supposed to wear binders, right, for like 8 hours, and then you're supposed
yeah,
to take them off. And I know that
yeah,
a lot of trans men, and I obviously totally get it, you don't want to take it off
yeah, yeah,
after 8 hours because
yeah,
I'm pre-top surgery, so is Scott. I currently tape, and most of the like you'll see all my videos on Instagram, I'm wearing one of these shirts that I got on Amazon because I can't stand, even when I tape, I have cisgender people in my life that say you can't even fucking tell, and I'm like, oh, thank you, that just cured my gender dysphoria, like thank you for telling me that you can't tell, like, but it's so much deeper than that, where you feel I'm doing a chest fly, I'm pre-top surgery, I don't want to go all the way out because now everybody in this gym can see that I'm a trans man. Did that
yeah.
ever go through your mind as you were lifting?
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely, and then also, you know, it was like when as I was working out, it was like I felt so limited because of a binder too. It was
Mm.
like I can't, you know, after I'm done with my workout, my back hurts, everything hurts.
Oh,
My binder constrains me, and I've had even though the binder was compressing, I was like people could tell, right?
yeah,
Um, and I wouldn't wear tank tops. I would literally wear shirts like these.
yeah,
Like even to work out, I would wear shirts like these, and I'm like, I had to unlearn. It's like for a lot of years until I got top surgery, and then once I got top surgery, I took 2 years off the gym, and then I think one of the years was I had so many complications with top surgery.
oh,
I had a seroma, hematoma, so
oh my
then I
god,
had to take extra rest time. Um, so then I took some time off the gym, and then once you take time off the gym, you don't. It's harder to come back.
yes, yeah, yeah. And you're and
Yeah,
No, it
and
really
post
is.
top surgery, you're like, fuck, am I gonna stretch these scars? Am I gonna have
yeah,
something else happen? And you're the
Yep.
first person to be that I've seen to be like open and honest and say, hey, I had complications from top
yeah,
surgery. Because you
yeah,
don't see that very often where people are just like, yeah, I had top surgery, everything's great. 12 weeks, I was back in the gym.
yeah.
And so I'm going my top surgery scheduled for sometime in December. And I'm
Mhm.
fully expecting, and maybe I shouldn't, I'll have a recovery in 10, 12 weeks back in the gym, no problem. But it's a
Yeah,
major surgery that's altering a lot of things, and there are complications that can absolutely come with it.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
And
yeah.
two
There's
years is a long
complications.
time.
Yeah, I mean, I took 2 years off. I took 6 months off because that was prescribed to me because
Mm,
of my hematoma, seroma, and stretch skin.
yeah.
Just to allocate for time of that, and then keloid. I got keloids,
Oh my
so
God.
I had to take steroid shots for that on those keloids, and luckily that went down. Um, so then, a lot of things happened, and then it was just a mental thing with me where it's like I don't feel comfortable enough going to the gym again. So then I came back, and then I realized I got stronger, or maybe it was just mental. I got stronger after top surgery. That's how I
Ah,
felt.
okay.
But
Yeah.
I think also it might have been that I felt more comfortable with my body. That I was able to push myself more.
Yeah, you have that connection where
Hmm.
it feels right. You're like,
Yeah.
this is where it's supposed to be. Because I obviously can't speak too much. I haven't had top surgery, but I'm so hyped for it. And there hasn't been a single trans guy that I've talked to that was like, no, fuck top surgery. It was horrible. Like, you know what I mean? Like that connection with my
Yeah.
body that I'm craving so much. And
Right.
that actually I kind of want to go into another thing here.
Yeah.
As I started to transition, I actually found that I had more dysphoria of things that I didn't really have before. Where like now I have a fade on my haircut and I have a mustache and a little beard going, but I also have breast tissue. And now my brain and my body don't know how to navigate. This is something that I'm looking at now before I get into the shower, and I'm having this disconnect where I could look over it before and it was just like a blur, and now it's very much in my face. Is that something that you dealt with pre top surgery?
Oh yeah, definitely. And I think a lot of it is associated with even before we started transition, we were so focused on, for myself, at least from what I could speak, I was so focused of being perceived as a man that I overlooked everything else.
Yeah.
And once I started testosterone, and I felt more comfortable in that space where I was being perceived as a masculine person, I was able to focus more on things that weren't so masculine.
Mm.
So I was able to focus more on like, oh shit, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, right?
Yes.
Um, so I think as we're getting more comfortable, at least for myself, as I got more comfortable with myself, I realized, okay, this is what still needs to an issue that needs to be resolved.
Scott, is that how you feel when you cuz you take your pre-surgery and you take shirtless pics and you're in the gym shirtless and shit, which I love. I'm so fucking jealous. Is that something that you feel, or is it just I'm going to be scheduled for surgery soon. I don't think anything of it. I blend perfectly. It is what it is. Oh boy. Scott's gone.
Got
Scott's
Oh
gone.
no, sorry. I got lost. What was the
You got
question?
you got lost on your way home. What are you talking about?
I did guess.
Luke and I were discussing as you start to transition and as you start to have all these masculine things happen, you know, your jawline changes, you start to grow facial hair, you're looking at your chest and you're like, I have breast tissue here. This is not right. Whereas before you could just look over it and kind of ignore it. And now it feels like you have a magnifying glass on that part of your body. Is it something that you're, because I have yet to take a shirtless pic and not edit at least my nipples out of it. And I know that you take shirtless pics, and I didn't realize that you were pre-top surgery until we spoke. Is it something that you, when you go home at night and you're getting ready to get in the shower, you look at yourself and you say, I fucking hate this, get it away, and you didn't realize that 10 years ago before you transitioned? Or is it, I don't think anything of it, and I'm ready to get top surgery whenever?
Honestly, surprisingly not. I don't think about my chest at all.
Love it.
Um, and I've been socially transitioned for 20 years. So I
Wow.
started when I was 10. So 33, 23 years now. And then I started, and I kept passing until I was 24. So I've been on test for a decade now. So it didn't really register to me like this is not my body. Like
Mm-hmm.
I think early on I kind of was like, this is my body. I'm okay with it. We're gonna build it how we see fit.
Yeah.
So it I just don't think about it.
Yeah.
And I know and as I said yesterday on the other episode, like I'm very fortunate when it comes to my transition, you know? Like I had a very easy time, but I also understand that there are a lot of people that weren't handed a silver platter.
Mm-hmm.
Like my name change cost me $40. It cost me nothing to get my gender marker changed. Like my social security card took me 2 seconds to get changed.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like everything, at least transition wise, to start initially cost me less than $300.
Yeah. I
So
love
like
that.
So again, I realize my privilege when it comes to transitioning, but I also understand that other people don't have it easy. Like in
Yeah.
Florida, I think a name change is like $500.
Holy shit. Fucking
Yeah.
Florida.
Yeah, right?
See, and I kept my same name. I mean, Jody with an I, and my middle name is K, but like I don't really give a shit. Like I'm literally not going through the paperwork to change my name. I'm not willing to do it. And I am small chested, even though I feel like I might as well be walking around with Dolly Parton titties. Like that's how it feels when you step outside and you're not binding or taping, at least for me, and I'm not wearing like a hoodie and a Carhartt shirt underneath it.
Right.
It feels like everyone's like, holy shit, look at your chest. You're a chick. And that is textbook gender dysphoria.
Correct.
So like when people say shit like, well, don't worry about it, or you can't tell.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm cured. Wonderful. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for that.
Yeah.
Like, thank you, mom and dad, for telling me you can't see my fucking tits. Like,
Right.
yeah. So it's good that you have that that mentality, that mindset too, where Luke and I are saying like, yeah, when I go to the gym, I feel like everybody's looking at my fucking chest and they're like, what the fuck is this in front of me right now? And that's the true blue dysphoria that I wish people understood.
Right. But also, don't get it twisted, anybody. I will score up to any motherfucker that looks at me any sort of way because
Dude.
I will fight, especially when I'm taking my pre workout.
Yes. He's like, I'm on 650 milligrams of caffeine. Fucking look at me sideways and I'm going to knock your ass out.
That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it.
That's hilarious. You see me, I'm a lover, not a fighter, so I can't be doing all that. I'm like, why don't you guys like me?
I grew up in the hood. I grew up in the hood. So I was literally like, so Portsmouth, Virginia, which is also known as Pistol City.
Oh, fuck.
Locals.
I've never even heard of that.
There is a corner where it's like three different boroughs. One is the Bloods, the other is the Crips, the other is MS-13. So I grew up like 5 seconds away from that corner.
Ooh.
So being able to blend in, that was definitely me.
Yeah. Yeah. We have to be almost like chameleons.
Yep.
Like I got away with being funny in school, and like people didn't bully me and treat me like shit because I could make people laugh. And like if you're the dude, that person that makes people laugh, they won't generally be mean to you. And if you can catch a joke about yourself before somebody else makes it, you're even better. Like cooler, comedy is what literally saved my ass from being bullied within an inch of my life because I went to a fucking Hicktown farm school.
Maybe you should do stand-up.
And Luke, I don't know what was your, kind of growing up through high school and middle school and whatever. How was that for you?
Well, for me, I grew up in I was born in Compton, in the Compton area, but I grew up in a Latino community. So I grew up with a lot of religious folks, right? So luckily I wasn't bullied because I did sports, so I did soccer and all of that. So even though I was like kind of like, oh, one of the gay kids, right? I was still doing sports, so I had a little click. But my mom also put me in boxing, so I competed in boxing throughout high school.
Wow.
So basically, Luke could kick our ass.
Literally, yeah, dude. Like he could knock my ass out. Powerlifting and boxing in your background, like, right. Dude, I ain't fucking with you.
It's like, all right, I won't piss you off anymore.
Yeah.
But luckily I wasn't. But it didn't stop the teachers and it didn't stop the principals from outcasting me.
Wow.
So it wasn't necessarily the kids, but it was more like I had issues with the principal because it was a charter or more religious school. It was like, not everybody was friendly.
That's horrible.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's horrible, man. And that goes back to the resilience that us as trans men and all trans people and member of the LGBTQ plus have to face is like, how was your childhood? Like, oh, it was fine, but people hated me because of who I am. And like, I just had to deal with that. That's fucking horrible. Like, that's absolutely awful that as a child, you had to take on everybody else's emotions about how they felt about you as a person. I mean, how fucked is that to
Yeah.
have to deal with?
And I think as a kid, you take it like, oh, something's wrong with me, without
Yes.
realizing it's like it's their twisted view.
Yep.
It has nothing to do with you, but more of their
Yeah.
bigotry. So it's like
Yeah.
for a lot of the time, as a kid, you're just taking in all this hate, and you're putting yourself down for it.
Yep.
What do I need to change about myself so that these people will like me and accept me? And that gets you fucked up in the end.
Yep.
These aren't your people. And you don't realize that as a kid, these aren't your people. And that's fine. You don't want these to be your people. But you don't know that until much later in life. And that's unfortunate that the trans youth and the LGBTQ plus youth have to deal with that.
I think it doesn't like you don't realize they're not your people until probably like your mid 20s.
At least,
Mhm.
yeah. I mean,
20s,
holy
maybe
shit, dude.
30s. Because, like, I'm just now at the point where I'm realizing that some people aren't supposed to be my friends, or,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not supposed to be in their lives, and vice versa.
Yeah.
So, it's definitely a learning curve.
It's
Yeah.
unfortunate though, right? Like when you
Absolutely.
having to realize who your true friends are and how your family feels. And Luke, I don't. So stop me if I get into
Mhm.
anything that isn't going to be cool here. Your family.
Yeah.
Uh, how were they with your transition, with powerlifting, with everything? How did that go?
So my biological family, I started transition like my social transition at 16, and then they kicked me out of the house. They're
Oh,
very religious people.
mm,
Unfortunately, they're like Christian, hardcore Christian.
yeah.
Um, so I've been living on my own since then. Kind of like situation where it's like, oh, okay. So luckily, I still have a relationship with them. It's more of like kind of far where it's like, oh, okay, if they need something, they'll reach out, once in a while. But I tend not to go visit them often because they're very religious. And whenever it comes down to it, it's like they always have a hidden agenda where it's like bringing me to church kind of thing.
Mm.
And I'm
Oh
not
no.
that type of person.
Yeah.
And I respect them, I respect religion on their behalf, but it's not something that I'm into. Um, so they're not really in my life, but my chosen family is, and they're very supportive of what I do, and being an athlete and being visible as a trans athlete, as a trans powerlifter, as a powerlifter who have a trans experience. They're actually going to go with me to Valencia to the gay games. We're all planning the trip out. They're being very
Wow.
supportive. Um, you know, so they're
I
like,
love that.
oh, let's plan it out because they love traveling too. So
So,
they're
this is
Yeah.
going
planning
to
the whole
be legit a family affair.
exactly.
Yes.
And I
I
am
love
really
that.
excited for it.
Yeah. And
Yes.
Scott's met my chosen family.
Yep.
So
Wonderful. I mean, that's perfect to have, dude. He doesn't know it. He knows now that Scott, you are my chosen family. And you too. I'm very proud of you, Luke. And my wife's family, when they found out that she was with a trans man, completely disowned her. And
No
I haven't
way. The
yes,
fuck?
and I haven't so I've gotten the second hand of that. And again, I hate to use it, the resilience that you all have to not let that just break you and say, fuck it, this is horrible, I'm done. I literally I can't express it. I don't even know the word, like it. I have so much love for you and I have so much respect for you, and the way that you all just like bear this, like my family wasn't cool with it and they don't want to talk to me and they what, this, that, and the other. And like it's okay, like I'm okay, because of course you have to be the one that's kind of flexible in it, where if they want to reach out, you have to be
yeah,
receptive of it, or you know what I mean. And I have so much love for you and I have so much respect for you, and it's not at all that this isn't fucked up that this is happening, and I hate that this is happening for my family, but I literally have the utmost respect for you, genuinely. This is such a difficult thing, and I was so hoping that you would say, yeah, they're supportive or whatever. I always hope that. um
yeah,
but my god, what a badass you are to make all this happen and to do all of
Yeah.
that despite everything else for both of you, because Scott and I had gotten into some conversations last night about some things that he had gone through, and I am such a candy. I'll say, I want to say it right here. I am such a candied ass trans man, where I haven't dealt with like the difficult shit, and I'm not going to pretend that I have, and I almost have like some sort of like survivor's guilt. I love you all, and I'm so appreciative that you're all still making it happen. This is
Yeah,
incredible.
I mean, we all have had silver plates handed to us in some of our lives. Like some of us family, some of us transition, some of us like
Mm-hmm.
money, education. Like we're all gonna go through a struggle, whether it's business, education, family. Like it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's great to be appreciative of who you have chosen as your family, and
Mm-hmm.
then also appreciative of the family that has either accepted you for who you are transition wise or not,
Yeah.
and if they don't accept you for who you are, fuck them, you've still got
Yeah.
your chosen family and your best friends, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's one important thing to see, right? It's like when I lost my biological family or the support of them, it was like going through those stages of grief where it's like you're mad, you're sad, all of that. But then along the way, you find people that care about you and people that you could call your family, right? So then it ends up being like it might take a few years, it might take a lot of work, but then you'll find people that really care about you. Like
Mm-hmm.
I could, like if I have any issues, I could call up anybody in my chosen family and we'll figure it out, kind of thing. So it's like
Yeah.
knowing, and that goes back to something that Scott said that was very important. It's like you'll find out who your friends are and who your family members are as you go through life. And some
Yep.
people will stick around and will be forever in your life, and then there'll be people that you'll realize as time goes on were only there because it was convenient for them.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's horrible,
It-
but that's also very true. Yeah.
Or you're there for your need of them,
yeah.
Mm.
like
Yes.
convenience. It's like you're in my life because I need you for one of your skills, not just
Mm.
because I think of you as a person because you're cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
And
you're
that's all,
absolutely right.
and that's also going back to you don't know how you don't know who your people are until you're like in your 30s. I mean,
Mhm.
sometimes you find out in your 20s. Like even still, me and you were figuring out that in our 30s, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But it takes a lot of work, not just with therapists, but also like work with it yourself to figure that out.
Yes. And my God, is it difficult? And my God, is it
Oh my god, so
painful?
difficult.
I mean, holy shit, dude. Um, Luke, I was thinking, especially since you're the first out of the three of us to have top surgery, is there anything, I guess, like in particular, I'm trying to think of how to say it, like that made you feel like more in tune, more connected with your body, where you were like, this is it. Like this is the angle, this is the shirt, this is the anything where I'm like, this is it. Did you have that moment in weightlifting or powerlifting?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think now that I'm doing, because even when I was doing CrossFit, I didn't have like a chest.
Mm-hmm.
I think now that I'm doing more, and I've talked to Scott about this, like incorporating more accessory work to build chest up, because that's always been my concern. Is like, oh, it doesn't, right? I want it to be like a chest.
Yeah, exactly. Yes,
I
yeah,
want
yeah.
like, no boobs, but like, those gym rat
Like a
chest.
beveled
Yeah,
chest,
yeah,
man. Yeah.
Well, you also have to have an off season in order for us to do that.
yeah.
So you can't just go from one meat prep to another meat prep, sir.
He's like, let's just blast all this shit and then deal with it later. Like, fuck. Put me in
Yeah.
16 meets this year, would you please?
I think this year, what we have, what, 3 meets, 2 meets, 3 meets, Scott.
uh, you're doing IATB again this year, right?
I am
Yeah,
too. Hey, we're going to be competing together.
yeah. Scott,
I'm
Um,
are you gonna
doing
do it?
IATV. Yeah.
Compete? No, because hopefully I'll have my hysterectomy in October after my meet.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah,
Welcome to the
yeah,
grind, my friend.
yeah. Because that's the other thing I have to think about. Because I'm thinking about hysterectomy, but also egg preservation. Because my partner preserved her sperm, so we're thinking about
Oh
kids.
yeah.
So we're thinking about maybe we're gonna see if it's viable. If it's not
Yeah.
Hell
viable,
yeah.
yeah.
I had my hysterectomy was my first gender affirming surgery, and I can honestly say that I regret not saving my eggs. I mean, I've got so many autoimmune diseases that it's like I'd hate to pass this shit on to my kids, but just knowing that, like, I don't know if there's some genealogy changes later where we can say we take your eggs, but we remove the genes that cause you to have diabetes or all this other bullshit. I don't know. Maybe I'd want to be. I mean, I'm a stepdad now, and that's great. But maybe I would have wanted. So I love that you're doing or considering egg preservation, because that's a big decision to make yourself sterile.
Right.
Which
Yeah.
people act like we just woke up yesterday and we are like, "Fuck it, get it out of here." Like it was a lot of thought process to say, "I'm never gonna have kids," and
Yep.
that's just it. It's not a decision. It's already been made. There's nothing I can do moving on from here. So
Yep.
respect to both of you, and respect for saving your eggs. Because yeah, I wish I would have done that, but I didn't.
We'll see if it's possible because I've been on testosterone for like 12 years now, so we'll see.
Wow, holy shit, man. God bless. Yeah. See, it's like I feel like I'm like a baby trans dude. I'm like, yeah, I'm on year 3, like, and you and Scott, like, shit. I was still like, when you guys started testosterone, I was still like, it's ma'am in the fucking bathroom and shit like that, and y'all were like, nah, it doesn't have to be though. Shit, that's
Man.
awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I
But yeah,
I guess let me ask too, because we got a lot of like young guys. Which Luke, how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
so I'm 32.
Yeah,
Oh my
Luke's our
god, you look
age,
so
dude.
fucking young. when you said
It's his
when you
genes.
said, dude, oh my god, where do you buy your jeans at? I
Fucking
need to buy a pair.
bastard.
No,
No,
like
seriously.
it, I was like, you said 12 years. I was like, what? So you started when you were an infant then, or like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
What? So okay, so 33, 33, and 32. What would you say to younger guys, like the right now the 18 to 25 year olds are getting hammered with bullshit information about like you're trans, so you're different, so here's what you need to do, whatever. What would you say to these guys if every single one of them would listen to you right now?
Your fucking vegetables.
You would say trend hard, eat clean.
For me, it'd be like, don't listen to everybody. Don't compare yourself to others.
Mm,
It'd be like that's a big thing that we do in community, and I've done it myself. It's like I'll look at the influencers and I'll be like, oh, I want to look like him. I want to do
yeah.
this, and it's like creates so much dysphoria. That's like enjoy the journey,
Yep.
figure out what you want in your life,
Yep.
because it might be different what I want. It might be different what Scott wants, right? It might be different than what you want,
Mm,
you know. And enjoy like the changes. Like I think that's the one thing I wish I had done is I would have enjoyed my changes more as like I grew facial hair, as I did all this. It's like take that in, enjoy every step of the way. Because I'm like, at the end of the day, we're going through that journey and we are changing. Like I don't look anything like what I did 13 years ago, 12 years
yeah.
ago. um so it's more of like, don't listen to what everybody's saying, like, you know and if people, and that's one thing I wish the community did more, is like support each other, support each other's journey, and knowing that each journey is unique, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I can't grow facial hair like Scott does.
Me either. So
But I
First of
also
all,
don't like, and like I also don't like growing facial hair. Like I could grow a beard if I want to. It's just I don't like it. It's
yeah.
just not something I like to do. Um, but I'll have people that have been transitioning for 10 years that can't grow a beard at all.
Yeah.
Um, So it's more
See,
genetics. It's like, if we aspire to be like someone that has different genes than us, it's never going to happen.
yeah. That's
So
hilarious.
it's
I just said that like less than 24 hours ago on here, where
Yeah.
I was like, I started following all these influencers that have been on testosterone for 5, 10 years. And I was like, well, why the fuck don't I look like that? And I'm a year and a half on testosterone and shit. And like looking at Scott's beard, like he's talking and I'm just staring at his beard the whole time. Like, I don't have those genetics and that's okay. And being okay with where you're at and knowing that it's going to change inevitably. I mean, somehow we look older, but we look younger. I don't know, but it's a wonderful thing. And so I love that you because you're 12 years in, I'm 3 years in, and we've both said the same thing now, where it's like this
Yeah.
is your wave, so you need to ride it, type shit, and
Yeah.
not look at what this dude that had facial masculization surgery looks
Yep.
like. Fuck that shit.
Yeah.
Enjoy your ride, man. This is all we ever wanted, and we're getting there.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially with all the social media and everything, all the influencers, people becoming influencers, and all that stuff. You know, it's easy to get drawn into that life where it's like comparing, compare, compare, and not realizing that's like your life is passing you by as you're comparing
Yes.
yourself to others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I remember when I first started growing a little bit of facial hair. Like you couldn't even I mean, I had to be under the right light. You had to have a camera like right on it. And I was like, yeah, look at that little tiny hair. But you would have thought that I had like Scott's beard, like a full beard. And now I have even more of a beard and I'm like, I hate this shit. Like these other guys have more facial hair. But it's because I started following more trans men that were growing beards. And I started focusing on what they're doing instead of enjoying my ride. So like having someone that's 4 times ahead of me saying the same shit, and maybe I'm 3 times ahead of somebody else saying the same shit. Take videos, take pictures, and enjoy the fucking ride, dude. Because you'll look back, I'm assuming, and say, shit, I started transitioning 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 12 years ago. This shit's insane.
Yeah, and it just like comes to a head, and you're just like, all the shit that I was worrying about early on, it doesn't really matter now.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I love hearing that from you guys because it confirms what I was feeling in my heart,
Oh
but
yeah,
not
no,
what my
absolutely.
head was telling me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Because I think, 12 years ago, I was comparing myself to like some scrawny, passable trans guy. And I'm like, now I'm like, 12 years later, I'm like, I don't want to be a scrawny trans guy.
dude, dude, you'll have the comments online of people being like, "You'll never be a woman," because they're so confused by like the fact that you. I'm like, "Oh, thank you. That's so nice of you to say that to me." Like,
It's like, I know, I don't want to be.
that's the whole point. So thank you for
Right.
bringing that to us.
Yeah.
What's okay? So for obviously it's mostly trans dudes listening right now, but for a trans guy that's trying to get stronger, that's all they want to do. They don't necessarily care about what my body looks like. I just want to be fucking strong. What advice are both of you? Because we have a coach client. What advice are you both? And you're laughing, giving to these trans guys that are saying, I just want to be fucking strong, dude. I want to deadlift 500 pounds. What do I need to do?
Oh, we asked, am I supposed to go first, or?
I would say age before beauty. So,
I mean, he's the pretty one, so.
so that's you first. That's you first then.
um, Lift heavy, lift often, eat a shit
Mm.
ton of protein, eat your carbs.
Eat more than you think you need to
Yeah, no,
eat.
eat more than you think, really. And train frequently. Not
Yeah.
trend frequently. Train
So you're saying more
frequently.
than 2 or 3 days a week? We need to be in there 4 or 5 days a week.
So for me, at least, I found the perfect balance for actually for all of my guys. It's like 4 days in, 3 days out is the
Mm-hmm.
perfect schedule. If
Yeah.
you hit two upper and two lower during the week, it covers all your bases.
Mm-hmm.
So the way I base my training is squat, bench, deadlift, bench. So like you'll have your main squat day, you'll have your secondary bench day, you'll have your main deadlift day, and then you'll have your accessory bench day.
Mm.
So like my squat days would be heavy triple or top single or fives, and then I'll do deadlift accessories after squats. Then for bench, I'll do like volume bench, like 5 sets, 6 sets of like 5 or 6 reps, and then um, triceps, biceps, shoulders, some back, and then that's that for those 2 days. Deadlift day, it's heavy triple, heavy single, and then back downs, 4 sets of triples, 4 sets of five, whatever,
Mm.
and then I'll do squat accessories on deadlift day. So that way your
Mm.
opposing muscles are fresher and you can still hammer those out. And then bench is, depends on if you're in prep. It'd be heavy triple, heavy single, and then some back downs. And then I'll do dips and pull ups. And then that's it. And
Perfect, man.
that's
It's a
kind of
mean
how
split, man.
yeah, I mean, it works. I mean, look at Luke, look at myself. I've had him on this split for, since basically we started, and he's gotten fucking strong.
Luke, are you a guy to go off plan and say, "No, that felt light. I'm gonna add some more"?
No, I'm the opposite. I'm the person that no, I'll go on plan, and then Scott will be like, "That looked too easy. You need to add weight."
Yes,
There
yes.
you go.
Uh,
So Scott's the one. So your coach is the one telling you to add weight. You're the ideal client and shit. You're not like I
No,
added
he
25
sa-
pounds.
look, he sandbags his fucking lifts. All right, I say
Ah,
I'll program like 1 for 1 or 1 for 3 at RPE 8, and then it would move like at RPE 6, and I'm just like, dude, what the fuck? Add weight. What the fuck are
yeah.
you doing?
I'm just following program.
So Scott,
Your 8 is actually a 6. All right.
is it easier to bring somebody back who keeps trying to add weight, or is it easier to bring somebody and say add some more fucking weight and then they add weight? Which one's easier to get them to do what you want? Somebody who's always going over, or is a little timid to go, let's like move it up a little bit.
Honestly, somebody who undershoots, like Luke, for
Ah.
example.
Luke,
Not
I'm
because you're
sorry, I'm
staring
getting
me
you
at the
fucking
face.
steamrolled here.
Not, and it's not because he's staring me at the face. It's literally no, because it's easy to be like, okay, well that moved at this RPE. Let's do another set. So when you look
Mm,
at accumulating volume, right? So let's say you do 450 for 3 and it moves at an RPE 6. I want that to
mm,
be an RPE 8. So you're at 1,300 pounds for that set, but let's go a little bit heavier. Let's
mm.
say 1,500 pounds, right?
Yeah,
If 500 moves at an RPE 8 for 3 reps, then that's where we're at.
yeah.
You're accumulating volume throughout the week. So because you just undershot by 2 RPE, that's an additional 1,300 pounds of accumulating volume that you just added. You
Mm.
get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So it's just like, okay, now we can add more weight to the next week. You know?
Yes.
So it's like,
Luke,
all
where
right.
are you at with that? This is, I want to say
I,
this is a safe space. This is a safe space here.
just in case. Not
You
with
I
my
won't
can't say what
coach.
he's going to text you after this, but.
you won't get 6 sets of 12 on Bulgarian squat, I promise.
I actually, I'll be honest. I actually like the accessory work.
Me
And
too.
I'll actually add accessory work to whatever Scott gives me. And that's just me because I like being at the gym longer. I like,
Yeah, me too. Me too.
yeah, like I'll be at the gym for like 2 3 hours, and that's just me because I like being there.
Yeah,
Because I have no life outside of that. But
same.
yeah,
Same.
yeah, it's just I'm not a social person, and I do events for work. So the last thing I want to do is go to another event.
Yeah, you're like at a bar on a Friday night. You're like, this fucking event sucks. They're like,
Yeah,
we're just at a bar right now.
yeah, yeah. So for me, I guess the advice I would give people in general, it's like, yeah, lift heavy, but know your limits, right? You're not gonna
Mm,
lift heavy
Yes.
like ego lift, but also know like hey, maybe if my max is of a deadlift is 200, I'm not gonna go try 205. I'm gonna base it off those percentages. If it's a I want to lift heavy day, I'll start with 60%. If that feels good, then probably 70% or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I
Yep.
might be having an off day, I might be having a good day. And it's also one thing that I always remind myself, and I need to, I like to think that other people should also remind themselves is that they'll have off days, right? There'll be
Yeah.
days when you don't feel as strong as you
Yep.
are, and you're having a shitty training day. And I've had those days before where I'm like, Scott, I can't do this. And, you know,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
will do this instead, right?
Yeah. I have those
Um,
days too, and I switch to accessories, something
yeah,
that is less taxing on my CNS
Yep.
or
Yep.
something
yeah,
like that.
yeah. Like sometimes Scott will program me for a top set of five, and then I'll be like, I'm coming back from being sick. I can't do it, but I could
Mm-hmm.
give you 5 sets of one at this weight.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's
Which is
that
what he ended up
communication with
doing.
your coach,
Yeah,
Yep.
right? When your coach gives you something and you say, "I don't think I can do this. I am recovering from a heavy work day or a
Yep.
sickness or something. Here's what I'll give you instead, though." And
Yep.
your coach will then take that and work from there. But instead of trying to say, well, this is what you told me to do, so fuck everything else, even though I've only had one meal and 8 ounces of water
Yep.
today, I'm going to go
yeah,
max out on a deadlift. Coming to your coach and saying, let's work on this together. Here's where I'm at. Here's what I'm dealing with. Can we
yeah,
redo the plan for today?
yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah,
You should
that's
be able to
that's
do
being
that.
able to have that open communication with
yeah,
your coach, like,
yeah,
Yes.
and as I said, like all of my clients, they've got my phone number, they've got my email, they've got my Instagram. They can get
yeah,
a hold of me
Yeah.
unless I'm in a fucking meeting.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Uh,
yeah. And Scott will tell you, I like to train in the night at
mm.
night, and I live in LA, so I'll be training at 10 p.m. and that's what your time is like 1 or 2 a.m.
It's 1 o'clock.
Yeah. So then he'll get
See.
random videos at 1 a.m.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
and sometimes he's asleep. So then I'm like, I'll just send him this. He'll answer
Yeah.
some.
Yeah. If I don't reply within like 15 minutes, I'm probably asleep.
Or in a meeting. Asleep or
Yeah.
in a meeting, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's perfect. That's I from all the bullshit I've seen from coaches online, and I'm not gonna call anybody out, but let's just say
But we
we've
want
all seen
to.
it. But
Sorry.
we don't want to get canceled right away. We're waiting until later when people like us, and then we can start slamming people. But the whole, like, I've seen coaches where they say, oh, I just cleared 140 messages. Like, cool. So you didn't put any time into any one of those fucking messages. You just were focused on clearing them all out and getting done with it. So I
Yeah,
love
just
that.
marking them red and not giving any feedback.
Exactly. Yeah. Look
Yeah.
good. Thumbs up. And then you're done.
Yeah.
Like, that's absolute bullshit to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then both of you are coaches, right?
I am, but it's like we'll call it under the table coaching. I
Okay.
take very select few that I work with for free, and then
Yeah.
Scott is the who you'd go to if you want coaching type shit.
Got it. Yeah, because I have my CrossFit certification, so I coach here and there for CrossFit. But my question for y'all is right because I love interviewing the interviewers. Is
Yes.
it would be like for people that are watching because it's also acknowledging that there's a level of privilege that comes from having a coach, right? Because not everybody can
Yeah.
afford a coach. What would you advise folks to like kind of get programming to get an idea of how programming works for people that are starting out?
Scott, you want to go first?
Mm, um, I would say YouTube. There's like there's so many programs out there. Like 531 works, 5x5 works, Smolov Junior works.
Mm,
It's also a very hard program.
yes,
Smolov in general works. Any program will work as long as you put the effort and the dedication into.
that part. That
So it's
part.
not the program, it's the person.
Yes. You have to
Um,
ask yourself, am I coachable before it? Me
correct.
personally, I'm not coachable.
Absolutely.
Dude, I am 100%. So I talked to Scott yesterday about having a coach, and we ended up going our separate ways because I just couldn't, like, he'd tell me to do one thing and I'd be like, bet, and then do something completely different. And I'm like, here's why I think you're bullshit. But like, I'm paying this dude X amount of dollars per month to tell me what to do, and I'm fighting him on it. So
Yeah,
for me, I know that I am not in that regard coachable, and I want to do what I want to do. So I don't even look for coaching. But you have to be prepared for your coach to tell you shit that you don't want to hear and make you do
correct,
shit you don't want to do, and
correct.
be so honest. We're going to know if you ate off plan. We're going to know if you missed a workout, and it's the lying bullshit. If you think you're going to
Hmm.
lie to your coach and say, no, I ate everything on plan and I did, why are you coming in under? Why is your weight over?
Yep,
And why do you look full in your pictures when you
yep,
shouldn't right now?
yep,
And if you're gonna lie, that's the first thing, is like, if you're gonna drink a beer every night, that's fine, but tell me so I can add that into your program so we can work
yep,
around it. You have to be ready to be so completely honest, and you have to be ready to be told shit you don't want to hear. And if you're not ready for that, you're not ready for a coach. I think that a
correct.
lot of people, and I'm sorry, Scott, that I just took over, but I think that a
No, no,
lot of
you're good. You're
people,
good.
I think that a lot of people think anybody can be coached, and like, if I have a good coach, then I'll get exactly what I want. But it really comes down to you as a person.
Hmm.
If you're ready to make the change, ready to be coached, ready to be told what to do, and ready to
Yep.
not fight it and trust the process,
Yes.
you can really get on YouTube. You can ask fucking Chat GPT and say,
Yeah.
I'm a trans man, I'm this age, I have this much experience, this is what I'm trying to do, what would you recommend? And it will give you a good program. It won't remember anything like your coach, and it won't log anything like your coach, and it won't do a lot of these things, but it can coach you enough to
Yeah.
where you can have that. But it really comes down to you as a person, and are you actually willing to make that jump?
Yeah. That's the big thing. Like being coachable is one of the 100% the first thing that you need to be, especially if you want to progress, whether it be in strongman, powerlifting, CrossFit, bodybuilding. It doesn't matter. You have to be a coachable athlete. You
Mm-hmm.
not just athlete, just a coachable person in general in order to move forward and no matter what you're doing. Because somebody out there is always going to be smarter than you. They're always going to know how to do something better than you. So you as a person have to always be a student. It doesn't matter how much knowledge you have in a sport or in any industry or in general, you have to be willing to accept knowledge from all sources. Like, let's say, for example, Jody, you're trying to teach me how to do a deadlift, but I have 30 years of experience deadlifting.
Mm-hmm.
There could be some trick or some way that you can make my deadlift feel and look better.
Yeah.
And being open to that criticism is going to set you apart from being coachable and being a good person that's going to be able to move forward and then just being a dumbass.
Yeah. You're and when I mentioned yesterday, Jen Thompson, how she had said, when you're bench pressing, instead of thinking of pushing the bar away from you, think of using the bar to push yourself through the bench. And Scott, you said that's a good cue. I
Because it
didn't
really
expect
is.
that
Let's be
from you.
honest.
I didn't expect that from you. And yesterday was our first time really talking, and I expected you to be like, yeah, that's a solid cue. But I could see that you stopped and you thought about it for a second, and you were like, yeah, that's a good cue. And I had so much respect for you at that moment where you didn't act like, oh, yeah, that's fucking, yeah, I tell my clients that every day, of course. You were
That's
like,
because
fuck yeah, like, that's good. Like, I haven't heard that before. And I
I
have
have
thought about that all day.
honestly, you got to be a student of the
Yes.
sport, life, everything. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter, again, how much knowledge, experience, like how much you've actually done this.
Mm-hmm.
Always be a student because you can learn from somebody that's got less experience than you.
Exactly. It's hard, man, because your dick gets big. You have all these clients that come to you, and they're smashing PRs and shit, and you're like, look at me, I'm fucking killing it. Like, but
Yeah,
there is plenty of shit that we don't know as coaches that
correct.
we're learning. And like I can say that coaching a vegan client, I would have to rely on AI because I don't eat vegan, and I'm not going to
Same.
give a vegan client fucking salad and tofu every day for a meal. I would have to reach out and find somebody else to help me coach this client. And I'm okay
Yeah.
with saying that because I don't have the fucking experience. It's
Right.
when we get into the people that say, "Oh yeah, yeah, I can do that. I can Man, shut the fuck up. Like
Yeah.
you
No.
have
Seriously.
not you don't eat vegan, you don't know you and all the supplements that they need to also because they're not eating
Yep.
red meat or chicken or
Yep.
anything. And you can tell that. I hate people that are too confident because there's no way you know everything about weightlifting, powerlifting, whatever.
Right.
And Scott, you're like that. I'm like that. Luke, you seem like you're like that. And I appreciate that so much from a coaching perspective where you can say, I don't know, but give me just a minute and I'll look into it versus, well, let me Google it real quick and pretend like I fucking knew that.
Yeah, and saying I don't know, that's not a slight against you. That's just showing that you legit just don't know, and you're willing to be open to learning and finding
Mm-hmm.
out what the actual answer is.
Let me go educate myself on this
Yeah.
and
No,
we'll go from
seriously.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's like I definitely love learning. Like I love learning new tricks of the trade, just because it's you don't know everything.
Mm-hmm. These kids act like they do, though, man.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah,
There's
we're men enough, all three of us, to say I don't know everything, but I can definitely find things out, and I can see through the bullshit.
uh,
What is something that you wish you would have told yourself or thought of when you first started your powerlifting journey, or even transitioning, or both?
I think it's something that I mentioned before, but it's like I wish I had stopped comparing myself so much to everybody,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
um, to all the other trans guys who were trans masculine people that had already 10 years in their transition, stuff in their transition, or
mm-hmm.
basically who had a lot of following on Instagram or on social media, on Tumblr,
Yeah.
back in the day, Tumblr.
Mm.
um,
Oh yes, Tumblr.
yeah. Um,
I love it.
because I think I caused myself so much dysphoria comparing myself than I did just enjoying the transition in general. And I think that's one of
Yeah.
the things I wish I had someone that I wish I had someone in community, a transmasculine figure that would have told me like, "Hey, stop comparing yourself. Stop thinking that X Y Z is what you need in order to pass or whatever it is, or to look handsome,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or look." Um, and I think that's one of the things because everybody has their own style, everybody has their own journey, and what I wanted to look like 10 years ago is not something I want to look like now. So things change, right? And it also depends on who I am, my genes, all that, many factors. Um,
Yeah. Jeez. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Because I had a friend who's been on hormones for like a year, who already has like a full grown ass beard like Scott's. So I'm like,
Doesn't that piss you off? Like you're so happy for them, but you're also like pissed. You're like, God bless.
yeah. I think old me would have been pissed, but
Yeah.
I think now me is more of like, cool. That's what happens with you. That's your genes. For me, I'm like, I'm happy with I'm happy at least I grow some facial hair, right? Um, and I'm happy
I
that I
love
don't grow
that.
a lot. Like I shave once a week, so for me, it's more of like how often, that's my genes. Like I could grow facial hair, but I grow more facial hair than my brother does. So, so I'm like, for people, it's different, you know.
Dude, I haven't shaved in 2 months, 3 months. What little hair doesn't grow. I love that you said that you were like, I'm happy for them, but like this kind of isn't my wave. Like I'm not gonna follow that. Like,
Hmm.
but I'm happy with what I got.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that because it's it's easy to get swept up, as I'm sure you both know, into like I look at pictures and videos of other trans dudes and I have these thoughts of, well, wouldn't my wife rather have that than what she has? Me, a trans man, pre all surgeries except for a fucking hysterectomy that doesn't really affect anything on the outside. Wouldn't like, and I start projecting myself on other people and what they think and what they're perceiving me as. But not once in 5 years have I been called ma'am by anyone. You know what I mean? Like on the outside, everybody just thinks I'm a dude. But I get on Instagram and I'm like, well, I don't look like these dudes. So am I really a dude, or
Yeah.
do I really pass, or do people really, you know? And that's such a sticky place to be in.
Yeah, I think that's the situation with social media and with everything that's like, okay, we see so many other people now, and we often compare ourselves to those people because they have more followers, because they're
Mm-hmm.
seen by society more handsome or whatever, XYZ, right? But I'm like, we look at each other like, hey, you're one handsome dude, right? Jody Scott's like good
Yeah.
looking, we have those qualities. It just beauty is not the what do you call it? Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, right? Yeah, your partner's with you because she saw something in you that she loves, and obviously she loves you now. She loved you before. She loves you now, and it's not going to change,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell
So
yourself
then,
that though, right? Like it's hard.
yeah,
Like the dysphoria crowds every thought you have about yourself, mentally, physically, whatever. And that's like the biggest thing that people don't understand about dysphoria and what makes it dysphoria. And Scott, you had shared something with me on Reddit the other day that was like, I'm not, or I'm seen as a man, but I don't feel like a man type whatever. And it kind of like brought up those thoughts of, this is the difference between maybe somebody who's overweight and says, I don't like my body, I want to change it, versus straight up dysphoria. And it's not, it's like a gray area beyond, I don't like my body and I want to change it, versus this isn't right, it has to be changed. And this is what everybody feels about me when they look at me, when they see me, when I upload pictures on Instagram and Facebook, and when people comment and say, oh, your voice is getting deeper. And every single polite, nice comment that somebody gives me, I appreciate, but I feel like you're just saying that. And that's the dysphoria taking over, saying these people don't actually feel that way. They don't actually see you as a dude. They don't actually give a shit about the weight that you're lifting in the gym. You're still just like a chick to them. And it's such an odd space to be in that nobody understands except for us.
yeah. And I think that's one of the things, really also we got to think about, right? Is that, God, how do I say that? That we see ourselves like, let's say for example me, I was very self-conscious, like we have that space of gender dysphoria, but we also have body dysphoria, right? And that's a lot of the reasons why a lot of people go to the gym is body dysphoria, because we want to look a certain type of way, right? I'll be the first to say, like, I have a lot of issues around my weight that has nothing to do with my gender. And it's more of like, oh, I wish I was skinnier, I wish I was more toned, I wish I was XXXYZ, right? And it's like we realize, like, as we're navigating through our transition, and this is something I've noticed with myself, it's like I'll find something to nitpick about. and that's and that's just always how it's been. And instead of appreciating this is how I look, I'm happy where I am. Um, and I think that's something also that a lot of folks deal with, especially in community. It's like, I haven't had top surgery. This is what I'm self conscious about. I haven't had bottom surgery. This is what I'm self conscious about. Um, and how do we navigate those things? How do we navigate those processes? Like you mentioned, Jody, it's like people tell you your voice is deep, but you don't believe it, right? You think they're just saying it, but then you see like, and that's one of the things I was like talking about, like people enjoying and like recording their transition along the way. It's like you could listen to your voice from even before you started or 3 months in transition, and then sometimes I wish that's something that I did. I have a YouTube video that I did on my first year of transition. I have it as private now, but then sometimes when I'm feeling really down, I'll go back and watch it and look at my baby
Yeah.
self and be like, oh shit, I really have come a long way.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you recognize yourself when you look at like old like childhood pictures of yourself? Because I've noticed that's something with me that I recognize this person, but I don't identify with like 13, 14, 15-year-old me. Like it's such a weird looking at pictures of myself.
Yeah, it'll be like it's a different lifetime. For me, it's more.
Yeah.
It's a different lifetime. I don't remember that. Like I'll remember pieces of it, but I don't associate it as myself anymore. It'll be more
Yeah.
of like, oh shit. It'll be like, oh man, that was like a lifetime ago. It's like sometimes I'll hear my old name and I'll be like, oh shit, I haven't heard that name forever.
Yeah. It's wild, right? Like literally saying goodbye to your old self. I remember like hearing people say shit like that when I first started my transition, and I was like, okay, whatever. And now I look at pictures from 5, 10 years ago and I'm like, holy shit, I don't remember ever looking, acting, being this person. And it's such a wild, most people don't have to look back and like say goodbye and kind of mourn the first 20, 30 years of their life. Such a weird thing.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that has been really interesting for me. It's like, especially with I talk to a lot of youth and their parents. It's like their parents have this issue where they're mourning who this person was, and I'm like,
Can you
that's
hear me?
still your child.
There we go.
At the end of the day,
Yeah.
that's your child. They're just more comfortable with themselves now. You're not
Mm-hmm.
losing your child.
Yeah.
They just
You're gaining what your child should have always been.
yeah.
You're gaining a happy,
Yep.
well self-love child. That's what
Or
you're getting.
an authentic child at that.
There it is. Yeah.
Um, the saying also goes like, he or she died so I could live.
Yeah. I feel that. Yeah. Yeah, man, shit. That's so true. Like I'm like thinking about that now. I'm like 4 beers deep and you said that and now I'm like, wow.
That makes sense.
Dude, yeah. It's like you exchange your safety, your freedoms, your whatever. Cause like nobody hates lesbians, bro. Lesbians
No.
are like the fire department. Like everybody loves them and they always show up when you need them. Like, and it's like you turn trans and you're like the police and everybody fucking hates you. Like, and it like, I gave up that so that like now when I take pictures with my stepdaughter and my wife, I actually look
Yeah.
like I have like life in my eyes.
Yeah,
Like I
you're
look
happy.
happy and I feel when somebody calls me sir at a restaurant, it's not like that awkward tension of like, oh, but you're a
What?
girl.
Yeah.
And somebody said sir. Like, and now everybody's looking and I'm like,
What?
Yeah.
weird.
I
Yeah.
always like the people that say that they can definitely tell, and I'm just like, no, the fuck you can't.
You literally cannot, dude. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had people talk about like other like trans women in front of me and be like, "Oh,
Oof.
you tell someone's trans," and I'm like right in front of you here.
I'm like, oh, that's wild. Yeah, I definitely can't. Shit,
It's like, no, you
I mean,
cannot.
yeah, yeah,
dude, these fucking people. The obsession with trying to catch a trans person just being trans is so odd. Like
Yeah.
like, and then what? Like we're
What do
like
you?
the Spider-Man meme pointing at each other. Like I think you might be gay because you're over here describing your like ideal man to me, and now you're telling me like, oh, I can tell when people are trans, and I'm like, wow, that's wild. I'll be sure to tell my trans siblings that you said that. Like,
Right.
fucking shit's wild, dude. These people.
You're not wrong.
yeah.
Ugh. It's
Cool, man.
just wild.
Hey, Luke, do you speak Spanish?
I do.
You speak fluent Spanish?
Yeah. My first
That's
language is
fucking
Spanish.
wild, dude. That's it. That's impressive. So, was that your first language, or
Yeah.
was English?
Yeah. Yeah, I
Wow.
was Spanish. I was one of those ESL kids. I didn't learn Spanish till I was in first grade.
Wow. See, that's impressive. And it's like, I want to learn Spanish, but I'm 33 now. And it's like, the older you get, the harder it is to learn things. You just like
Well,
reject it.
sometimes you just gotta throw yourself out there and like kind of have like listen to conversations, like watch novelas, put the subtitles on, and watch the novelas.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. My wife likes those, so that should be no problem.
yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
boy, these are dramatic, and I don't even know what they're saying.
Meanwhile, I'm over here learning fucking German.
Yeah.
Dude, I took German in high school, and I was like, why did I do that?
Well,
It
German
was
is
for an
closely
easy
related.
A.
Yeah, German is closely related to English. So
My sister speaks fluent German, so I had her help me with my homework. That was the real
nice.
reason. Let's call a spade a spade. I was like, hey, I need your help. And she'd do the whole shit for me, and then I'd fail the test. Fucking idiot. Yeah. Dude,
Blame his
that's
sister on it.
rad. I've loved having you on here, man. You're cool as shit. I gave you a follow. Where can people find you? Instagram, Facebook,
You can
X.
follow me. You can follow. You can find me on Instagram. It's Luke Epsilon. And then you can put it on the episode, whatever. And then
Yes, we got you.
you can follow the organization I work with. It's Flux underscore HF.
Okay, I'm
So
following them right now.
we do events all over the nation, international work. We have a chapter in London, Mexico, and India, and we're opening one in Peru and Brazil.
Oh my
So
god.
if people are interested, they can check us out. If they're interested in opening a chapter, we could check it. We check that. We chat.
Flux
Flux,
AHF. Just
Flux
gave you guys a
underscore. Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
underscore HF. Just gave you guys a follow because this is absolutely incredible what you guys are doing.
And remind
Um,
us again what Flux is.
So Flux is a affinity group of AHF, and we do our goal is to raise the profile of the trans and non-binary community, and our specialty is we do create events and create safe spaces, and we do a lot of advocacy pertaining to the community. So we specialize it in the chapters. So we have a chapter here in Mexico City, and a chapter in LA. We have a lot of chapters everywhere. But whatever is going on in that city, we specialize in advocacy with that within that city or events pertaining to that city.
And if I'm not mistaken, you also have a chapter here in DC, correct?
We do. We have a chapter in DC. It's called a DMB. So it takes over the DC, Maryland, Virginia area.
Yep.
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. So they'll be doing an event. So I'll send you, Scott, that once it's out. Um, and then, Jody, where are you from?
I'm
Where are
in
you?
Indiana, man.
Okay.
We
Yep.
need you guys out here, brother. We need you. Come on, man. Come on with it. Like, yeah, Indianapolis is blue. Everything else is red.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I live in a very red. I live in the southern part of Indiana, and I am stealth outside of Instagram and Facebook, and it
Yeah.
is for my own safety,
Yeah.
Yep.
Definitely is.
Has to be.
Yeah, especially during this times.
dude.
All right.
Yeah,
Well, thank you all. Thank you both of you for having me. I know it was a little longer than I thought it was gonna be.
dude. We
We
love
had
you.
some
We just
technical
wanted to hear you
difficulties. It's
talk,
alright.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Awesome.
All right.
Luke,
Well,
we
let me
appreciate you,
know.
man. This was
Yeah.
awesome.
And if you're gonna join us for ITVP, I'll be able to see you in November.
Yes, I'll be there. I'll be there,
Yes,
man.
sir.
All right. See ya.
All
Bye,
right,
guys.
boys.
Bye.
Bye.
And that is going to conclude our episode with Luke. Everybody, check back for our next one. Ideally, we should be dropping probably once a week now that I have a bunch of people that are interested. If you are interested in hopping on the podcast with us, shoot me an email at lumetraining@gmail.com, or you can find me on Instagram, fluffy757 underscore. You can also find Jody and talk to him. It's dammit underscore Jody.
Classic.
Man.